John, are you familiar with, well, there's a book, but there's a whole concept called the love languages?
No, never heard of it.
You've
I've
never-
heard of the Kama Sutra, if you mean that.
Okay, no. This is the love languages where it's like affirmation and physical touch and all these different things. And it's what different people are into. And they basically said that, in a partnership, you have to understand the love language. I think there's like 5 or 6
You're not
of
going to
them.
start touching me, are you?
No.
Okay.
I think you and I should figure out our love languages for sure, but
No, just alcohol and not touching each other.
Oh, right.
Definitely no.
But I think today, that the girlfriend and I figured out our love language where we're at least really on the same page.
I'm so glad I realized this was a regular show, not an after show, because I had a really bad joke all of a sudden.
Okay. Well, today we both independently, without talking to each other, without planning anything with each other, broke into each other's houses.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how can that be love language? I thought that was like physical touching.
I don't
That's
know,
kind of
man.
the opposite. I mean, you're clearly in the wrong person's.
Yeah, so I come home today and there's a bag in my garage, in my refrigerator that says not to open till tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And then I knew she was like kind of under the weather today, and so on my way home from work today, I grabbed her some soup, and I went into her house and she was asleep, so I just left it on the counter for her in a bag.
Or so you thought.
Yeah. So so we apparently broke into each other's houses today.
That's cool, I guess.
But that's not what I want to talk about today.
I think most couples, do like dinner and drinks, and I mean, I guess breaking into each other's houses is, it is 2021. Who knows?
Oh, man. Well, let's talk about something different today.
Okay.
It's time to hit the trail. Lock in those hubs and throw it into low range. Because you are listening to Wheelin' with Keith and Johnny Orange. They're here to talk about 4x4s and everything to do with enjoying the great outdoors. Here's your hosts, Keith and Johnny Orange.
Dude, it's over. It's over.
You just said you broke into each other's houses.
No,
I thought you were going good.
Not with her. Wheels in the Woods 2021, man.
Yes, indeed.
We did not record out there. We were going to record.
We talked about it. I know it's not always so easy to do, and we tried to have a mic that we could set up to record it, and I couldn't find the adapter I needed. I thought we had one in our gearbox here. Couldn't find it.
Oh, okay.
So it would have been a pain to do that. But.
So I've been thinking about how everything went down with Wheels. It was a nice event.
Oh yeah,
always is.
The weather actually turned out fantastic for once,
and
which is nice.
I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah.
So up until even the morning of the event, all our local weather on Google and everything kept saying scattered
Rain.
thunderstorms.
Yeah.
So we actually ended up with one of the smallest turnouts we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Still a great little turnout.
Oh yeah, was it about 20 vehicles? I think
something
total
like
this
that.
year?
Yeah. I'm just like, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people.
Yeah,
that
none
said
of the scroungers showed up. Not
no,
cool.
no, and CJ didn't show up. You know, calling you out there, CJ. Where's your Bronco?
Is this the mythical Bronco that doesn't exist but does?
We've been
like
seeing
everybody
pictures
called
of it.
about my XJ for so long.
Well, there's that, But, we did. I think everyone that came this year was new to Wheels in the Woods, too. I don't think Jeff Poole was a returning visitor. He's been to 3 of them. But I think everybody else, for the most part, was new. Even our buddy Lucas has never been before.
No, he brought his is it a TJ or is it an LG?
TJ.
Okay, yeah, he brought that up. That thing is awesome.
2000
oh my God.
TJ, yeah. I mean, what's left of one. He keeps welding and cutting on it. And...
I mean, at the core, it's still that, at least.
Yeah.
That's what the title says, I imagine.
It was interesting because the last time I saw that thing, it had no fenders whatsoever because he cut them all off. for rock
I remember
crawling.
last time I saw it. I
Now,
think he's
now
moved
he's
since I
built
last saw it,
steel
too.
fenders all on that
Yeah.
thing, all the way around. Is what he calls his Canada fenders. 'Cause they, he's got kind of that Viking, or not Viking, Icelandic off-road rig thing going on with it, because he's got them as wide as the... It almost looks like one of those bummers they used to make.
Bummers?
Yeah, it was the Jeep that had the Hummer conversion body kit on it.
I'm not aware of this.
Yeah, Lucas's version looks way better.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. But you've
check
never
into that.
seen one of those, huh?
I don't think so, no.
They were weird.
I feel I should feel blessed for not having seen it by the sound of it.
they were the weirdest little thing. And
Yeah.
people called them bummers. I don't know if that's actually what the kit was called, but we've... but anyways, so we had, like you said, about 20 rigs come out. What was your favorite?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, we had a pretty cool mix of stuff. I mean, we had, I don't know the year, but a really nice newer Camaro. That was not my favorite. Honestly, I think it's a tough call because, I mean, I got to go with my Jeep guys here.
Okay.
I think it would either be Lucas's, which technically wasn't even in the show. So overall, I'd say that against Dan's. So like the Jeeps, that red one, it was a YJ, wasn't it? I think.
Dan's what?
Not Dan's, the gentleman in the red one that had the Swampers.
I think that was an old CJ7, wasn't it? Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
He left earlier. I didn't really get a
Little
chance
bit,
to
yeah.
check out that rig very much.
Excuse me.
I think he left even before awards or anything.
No, he was there for the awards.
Was he?
Yeah, he was a gentleman. We had a retally at the end, a little bit of an error in one of the numbers, and he did end up winning that one.
Oh, I do remember
So
that.
yeah.
I was pretty happy with the way everything went. We changed up the awards categories this year.
Yeah, we need a little hiccup with that.
Well, but the way that it went worked out good. I mean, yes, so that's my bad. I picked up the awards last week from and I'm not going to name names. We've named them in the past, but whatever. From the people who've done our awards, and they do a beautiful job.
Oh,
they do a gorgeous job in the
Absolutely
awards.
beautiful, yeah.
And, well, actually, I will name names. Laser Market out of Richmond, Michigan. And here's the thing. I picked up Big Box. I got there a week or so ago to pick up the awards for the event. I pulled in, and I pulled in literally probably in the last 5 minutes they were open. Whoever was behind the counter that day was like, oh, yeah, I think I got your box here. Brings it out to me, sets it on the counter, rings me up. I kind of rifled through. Okay, these look great. It didn't go down the list because I had emailed the list of the classes.
Yeah.
I got the awards back home, and I looked, and I kind of went through them all. But I didn't take the time to cross-reference from the list that I had sent them. And as you know, we were missing two
or three, I think it was.
awards. So much to their credit, I did email them yesterday, and I said, "Hey, is there any chance they're still at your shop? What happened?" And they told me that they're going to look around, but if they don't have them, they're going to print them up and
cool.
and make them immediately.
Very cool. Very cool.
So
I know
they're going to
they're
going to rectify the situation immediately.
Cool. Yeah, the one almost worked out that we didn't have it. I was the only diesel there for most of it.
But someone
So that
still
was one we were
won the
missing.
diesel award.
Jeff's son.
Oh,
so he
okay.
came up in that white, was it Ram 2500, I think?
Okay.
And we didn't even have the diesel on it. We weren't registering that class because
Yeah.
we figured that problem pretty early. And people were still writing it in.
Gotcha.
So I know last minute he got kind of voted in for it anyways.
Which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
And I was kind of happy about that, even though I was bummed you didn't get it. I was
it's all
happy about it because Jeff's son names, I'm drawing a blank on it. Is it Eric? Aaron? Something like that?
Eric, I think.
Okay.
Apologize if we're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm bad with names.
When I first met them, over 5 years ago now, out at when William, who was involved with the board for a while with the Mora way back in the day, him and I
Oh, yeah.
had
about
been
him.
invited to go out to Well, the whole board was invited, but we had been invited to go out to the Yale Car Show.
Yep.
And both Jeff and his son were there, and Jeff had the DAF there at the time, which ended up being in the museum later.
Yeah.
And then his son, William, was there, and I'm sorry, William was with me. His son was there. Yeah, exactly.
That's the right name.
And we were walking around, and his dad won Best of Show with the DAF, which really blew away. There's like 300 cars there, and they blew away a lot of these Corvette Camaro guys and everything, because they're like, what the heck, this Netherlands military 4x4. But William and I, we were two of the judges, two of like 9 judges. And there was like 4 or 5 of us that had already said we wanted Best of Show for that one. And the reason is because he had done a nut and bolt restoration of that thing using all original parts from the Netherlands. He
Including
did not
the paint. I remember
Yeah,
talking
he
about that.
didn't modify anything. Even the headlights were correct. Everything like he had done. That's probably the world's best restored DAF in the world.
Oh, I believe it.
And
Having seen that thing firsthand, I absolutely believe that.
so that's why we had voted for that. But his son had just spent tens of thousands of dollars on a custom Dodge truck, not the one he had out at Wheels this year, a different one. And he was really hoping to win something. He won nothing. Now, granted, he was at a car show with a jacked up truck with kind of the big rims and the stretch tires and all the things that some of these car guys really aren't into, at least the older car guys.
Yeah.
So when he came out to our show, he had a similar build truck, not as crazy as the one that he had up in Yale, but you know, he was bummed that he didn't win anything up there, because he did his display on the truck. I mean, he had his drive shafts polished when we were at the Yale show. I mean, this truck was like,
that's going all out.
I mean, he had this
Did
thing.
he drive it there or trailer it?
He drove it there, but I mean,
Nice.
he had the thing like ready to go, show ready.
Nice.
So I'm glad that this show he won something, which was kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
and did that, but like you said, we're missing a couple. We're gonna end up shipping a couple of awards out.
Yeah, no big deal.
Is what it is.
Overall, I think it went great. Everybody had a great time talking. The one, I don't remember what it was. It was that little gambler car the guy built and brought up.
The Ford
sorry.
Focus with no doors.
It wasn't a Focus, but basically, yeah.
Or not Focus, Escape.
Okay, yeah. I thought it was like an Edge or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had over like 18,000 gambler run miles on that thing. It's just a beater. Runs great. I mean, he ripped in with that thing. No doors. It's all beat up. He's got a ratchet strap holding the hood down with a little Hulk hand that'll cover it.
You know what's funny is
that was cool.
I've actually seen that rig before.
Nice.
I saw it in the parking lot of a restaurant. I took a picture of it
Yeah.
and posted it on a Facebook group called "So I See Your State Doesn't Have Vehicle Inspections."
Nice.
And I didn't like bash it or anything, but I was just like, and I was like, pure Michigan right there. We can run
yeah.
whatever we want. And
Trying to remember the guys' names that brought that Comanche up.
same thing,
Jonathan
pure
was-
Michigan.
Yeah,
I mean, you
Jonathan
couldn't.
was one. I remember the other guys though.
And that thing was
That was beat.
that was pretty beat.
But I mean, they're 2 high school kids, guys, and they've got a couple other trucks. I talked to them at quite length, and that rig it's just cool. You
Are
know,
they
they're turning
brothers?
into mud truck. I imagine so. I honestly don't know. I never asked.
Okay.
They're either just good friends or brothers, but
All right.
I mean, they're planning to run the radiator in the truck bed.
Yeah.
They got the fuel tank sitting on top, and they're already all siliconed up, so water won't get in.
Saw that.
It needs a lot of just body work, obviously. There's more sheet metal and zip screws in that than my Pegasus.
What I was amazed on the Comanche was that the inside of the bed,
Wasn't that bad.
except for where they cut out the wheel wells, which
Yeah.
they did for clearance,
Yep.
was mint. The
Yeah.
outside was rotted.
Oh,
but
yeah. The inside was solid.
It was very odd. I think
Yeah.
I was the complete opposite of my ex-wife's Comanche years ago. She had one where the outside of the bed looked okay, but the inside was nope. So
Yeah. No, it looked good. I talked to them about some of the plans for it. It's only a 2-wheel drive, so they're going to convert it to 4-wheel.
I didn't even realize that was
Yep.
a 2-wheel only.
Yep.
Wow. Well,
So
with
it was
that
neat
body
to
style,
see.
you can bolt in the axles.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just neat to see You know, that's kind of the mantra of the Mora is, you know, whatever you have, keep it. You know, if it's a rust bucket, but you have fun with it, build it.
Well, I mean, not so much the Mora, but Wheels in the Woods. Like,
well, yeah, that's. I guess it's not really
but exactly, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, you had directly across from them, God knows how expensive it was. What, like a 2019, 2020 Corvette or whatever that thing was, LS7 engine.
Yeah, it was. We had like a brand new, almost brand new built Corvette.
Yeah, and across from it was an '87 rotted out Comanche. It was awesome.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
The contrast that we had.
Yeah,
there.
I love
brand new Dodge trucks, old ass Jeeps. I mean,
that restored Gremlin.
We had a
That was
Gremlin,
cool.
56 Plymouth convertible.
Yeah, that the police
51
car was awesome.
Plymouth cop car. Yeah,
That was seriously cool.
It was a nice selection of different
Yeah, and
vehicles.
the gentleman in the big truck, that was cool.
Big truck.
The big F-350 with the little tent on top, and the hammock hanger on the back.
Oh, that was a Dodge. Dodge 2500. Yeah, and he had actually he had bought it from oh God, I'm trying to think of their name right now.
I've got a picture of it. Hang on.
Yeah, AEV, American Expedition Vehicles. He had bought it from them. It was a display Dodge that they used. It had like 50 miles on it. And he got it for a smoking deal. He told me how much he paid for it. I was just floored because it came with the lift kit, came with the bumper and everything like that. And the gentleman's actually a pretty cool dude. He's involved with a couple of nonprofits, and he has the vehicle wrapped, and he takes it to various shows. Like you said, the rooftop tent.
I didn't even notice this. You mentioned the tent. I don't remember what it was, but I'm assuming that's names on top of the...
Yeah, it has something to do with...
Awesome.
Okay, so the nonprofit inside, Blue Skies, what's the rest of it?
Blue Skies for the good guys and gals.
Yeah, so that's the name of the nonprofit he was representing. And we might bring him on the show sometime to talk about the truck and talk about the nonprofit that he's involved with. But he had my mom actually loved the one of the modifications he had, which was that hook that he had with
the hammock thing.
With the hammock,
yeah, that was awesome.
It was like a hammock chair.
That's genius. Yeah.
He's just hanging out on the back of his truck in a hammock chair, dog sitting by him, smoking a cigar, having a good old time.
What better way to spend a Saturday?
Oh, I mean,
it was awesome.
He was having a great time. Aaron was his name. I remember that. Yeah, and so he had just beautiful truck. You know, unfortunately, he didn't win an award, which I was kind of amazed.
Yeah,
but his truck kind of bridged a couple of categories, and I think the one. And when we said earlier in the show, folks, where we changed it up, the way we did it this year, and I think we probably will continue to do it this way, and simply because, yes, it is a moneymaker, but it also helped to keep it so one cool vehicle at the show wasn't winning all the awards. What we did this year is you register for the category that you want to be in. If you want to register for additional categories, so let's say you're running for Best Diesel. You know, you pay $20 to enter that category. But then if you also want to be in Best American 4x4 or Best Original or something like that, you pay an extra $10 per category. Now, all of that money goes right back to the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. This is a nonprofit event. This is all a fundraiser. We're bringing money back into the museum. So, you know, most of the participants, not all, but most of the participants paid for at least one additional category.
Yeah.
And that helps out a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, instead of just in the past, we did a $25 fee to be in the show, and people could vote you for as many categories as you wanted.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it worked out pretty well
for
doing
sure.
it that way.
Like I said, most people got something just out of numbers.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. My buddy Tim came out with his Gladiator. God, excuse me. He won an award. I think it was Best American 4x4, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so he entered that, and I was telling him he didn't think he would win anything, didn't think he'd fit a category. It's like, you fit this. It's American-made 4x4. It could be completely stock, doesn't have to be built.
No.
And all he did was rims and tires, so I'm really glad he did enter that.
Pretty tasteful choice on his rims and tires, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. And I know he's got a really nice lift and some other upgrades planned for it.
Yeah.
As he has now learned the Jeep world, or rather the 4x4 world, gets kind of addicting when you start building.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And then we can't forget, and I still don't know what it's called, that little mini Jeep thing that Dan brought.
Well, I don't. It's a mini Jeep. I think that's just what he calls it. I don't know who made it.
Yeah.
But Dan brought
I don't know how he fit in that
a
thing.
gas-powered, slightly larger than a Power Wheels, but not by much, mini Jeep with a it had a forward and reverse transmission and everything in it. Probably a Briggs & Stratton or Honda engine. I'm not sure. Little go-kart Jeep, I guess is what you'd call it. And he drove it all the way to the event.
I think Cranks, he said, was it later in the day, he got up to 34 miles an hour?
Yeah. Now, mind you, he only lives 2 miles from the museum. He actually is the closest to the museum of any of us.
Yeah.
And but still, driving there was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it was nice that he was able to go through the course with his kids with it.
Yeah.
The Power Wheels course, I was really disappointed this year.
I was too. We didn't have anyone show up.
Previous years, we've had 10 entries in the Power Wheels race, but
I'm wondering if that rain, like we were talking about, that forecast had something to do with it.
I just really don't know. It was an odd thing. We set up a really cool course.
Yeah.
It went up a hill on the one side. It went between a real tight spot between kind of like the back side of some elevation and a building. So it was kind of like a tight gully. Really technical thing that worked good for a Power Wheels. Dan got through it with the mini Jeep, just barely.
So how did he score? Did anyone even score him?
No, but I will tell you this: the score probably would have been in the 70s or 80s because he broke so many of the sticks that hold up the barriers.
Nice.
You know, the stakes. And the way we always do the Power Wheels event is each competitor, and we do it kind of like a competitive rock crawling event. Each competitor starts out with 100 points.
Yeah.
They are deducted a point every time they back up or they hit one of the barriers. Dan must have hit at least 20 barriers. He didn't back up as far as I know. I never saw him back up when he went through, but he just plowed through that thing.
Yeah.
And he was the only one, but
It's all good. It's fun.
it was.
No, then we did, of course, lunch orders through Foxfire Fixins again, which, God, I love those egg rolls.
They donated
And
20%
the
of their
cheese curds that they have now. Dude.
I didn't even try them. Were they good?
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't had them yet.
I like those a lot.
Really?
a lot.
Were these regular cheese curds or?
It was cheese curds. If I remember, the menu described them as like a ranch batter.
Huh.
I think it was, they were really, really crispy.
No kidding.
And so I had some left over I brought home, and a couple hours later, went into the refrigerator, and they were still crispy. They were fantastic.
I'll have to try them soon. So Foxfire Fixins Restaurant, like John was saying, donated 20% to the event, which of all the food orders. And we had 2 food orders throughout the day.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
We also had some awesome sponsors again. We had our 2 main sponsors, which sponsored all of our awards, were Starcraft Brewery out of Richmond, Michigan, and Codette's True Value Hardware, which they have in Williamston, Michigan, Livonia, Michigan, and Fowlerville, Michigan locations. And my brother Jeff, who owns all those True Values, came out. Daryl, unfortunately, who owns StarCraft, was not able to make it. But something we did, which was different this year, and I don't know why we didn't do it in previous years, we did a thank you awards.
Yeah.
Or not really awards, but thank you plaques.
Yeah, like a donation plaque. I guess
Yeah,
you
so
could
he
call it.
gave one to Jeff, who's a 4-year sponsor now.
Yeah.
And I think if he's a sponsor next year, I think we should do a special 5-year kind of like mention on there, 5-year sponsor. And then Daryl, first-year sponsor with StarCraft. And but we went out to StarCraft afterwards.
Yeah.
And with a few people
fantastic beers.
and with a few people that went to the show.
Yeah.
And you presented Daryl with the plaque.
We both did.
Well, we both did. You did most talking, but
It's all good.
I talk a lot in the show, but you talked out there, which was cool.
We had fun.
Yeah.
They had a great night. People were taking pictures of it throughout the night. And so I was there a couple nights later. People are still talking about it and how nice it looks, which is awesome.
Is he gonna hang it up in the bathroom or something?
No, right now it's sitting above the bar. So they have it propped up like on the top shelf right behind the bar. Yeah,
Very
it's really cool.
Very, very cool. Well, and that was really awesome for them to do. They're an awesome sponsor, awesome brewery. We've talked about them before, the quality of their beer and everything, and and then we had, of course, Michigan Specialty Coatings, Michigan Specialty Coatings Electrical Division. They're the ones that printed our banners again this year. Huge thank you. Shout out to them.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
And we also had ABC Home and Commercial Services donated the porta potties for the event, and just we had, and then of course we had the Wheelin' Podcast and Thumbprint News, who, pardon me, continued to advertise again and again and again for the event. So, we always appreciate our sponsors. The people that sponsor.
It'd be real hard to do this without you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And no matter how small, no matter how large, hopefully next year will be even bigger. We're trying to do that.
That would be awesome.
So let me ask you this, John, because we did something totally different this year. Totally different. We moved it down, kind of an emergency move down from our traditional fairgrounds down to the museum parking lot. Which do you like better?
I like the atmosphere of the woods better, but I think logistically the museum grounds make more sense. Just because, one, we do it at the museum, so people can actually tour that, and a lot of people toured it and enjoyed that, which is awesome. And it's just, we don't have the risk, because we had this last year, and I think the year before. End of the day, just all the traffic on the grass kind of starts to get soft. We start tearing it up. So in the gravel driveway, I think works nice. I do love the woods, but just with the weather, potential of bugs and all that. Of course, we didn't have a big bonfire this year, though. I missed that.
I forgot we did that last year.
That was a big fire, too.
It was. With the folks that we had that were there also for the Christmas sale.
Yeah.
If we don't have that next year and we decided to do it at the museum location, I think we'd be fine. We could probably do another 20 or 30 more vehicles.
Yeah.
But I think if we would have had another 20 vehicles show up this year, we would have ran out of room. We would have been really
Very
tight.
possible, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been, because, that parking lot, you really have to park people tight to have more than 50 vehicles there.
Yeah, and when I brought mine up, I was kind of on the far end, almost in the brush.
Yeah. And I was a little worried about that, because we had far more response to people that said they were coming to the event than actually came to the event.
Yeah. Yeah,
and I'm disappointed about that, but I'm still like, okay, we had a good time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It still went fantastic. I knew a lot of people said they were going to try and make it and couldn't for whatever reason, but everybody still enjoyed it. There were the two groups. There was the Gremlin, and what was the one next to that? The red truck with the wood paneling on the bed.
Oh, Little Red Express.
Yeah. Those guys knew each other, so they were all hanging out, talking, and everyone walking around talking about the different rigs, which is just, I love seeing that.
Yeah.
Everybody, the camaraderie of just cars like that. That's awesome.
So how'd you think the trivia contest went?
Pretty good. We might need to change some questions up. A few of them stumped a lot of people.
Well, that's the idea. They can't be too easy.
No, I think it will. I'd hoped we were going to have a few more people. It got narrowed down pretty quick, though. But it went well, and the final round was a lot of fun.
So the way we did it, which we've been modifying this and changing it a little bit, fine-tuning it every year. But the last couple of years we have the automotive trivia contest, then the 4x4 trivia contest, and then the winners of the two of them face off for the ultimate automotive trivia.
Yeah.
Or the car trivia contest, then 4x4, then ultimate automotive trivia grand champion. Yeah. So last year we had a father-son.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that was really cool. And they went forever. I had to start making up questions on the spot.
Yeah.
We went through all the ones we had.
Yep.
This year, we had a first again. During the car trivia contest.
Oh, yeah. We
had two people that scored the exact same score of 7 points.
Yeah.
Because 7 out of 10. You get 10 total points. Mm-hmm. And they both scored a 7. So they had to go back-to-back prior to the grand championship contest.
So that was cool. Got a little more time on it, which was nice.
And then the 4x4, like you said, maybe the 4x4 questions were a little tough. Because the highest score we had was a 4.
Yeah.
4 out of 10. But, they were, you just never know. You get some guys, and, but then the two guys who, and it was, do you remember their names off the top of your head?
Bill and
Bill and Guy.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Bill and Guy went. So the way we did it once we went to the final round was first to 7.
Yeah, we had a lot of tie questions.
And
Either wrong or
we must have
correct.
asked 20 questions before
If
they got
not
to
more,
7.
yeah.
They were really and
And they were right back and forth with it too when they were scoring.
well,
which
what was
cool.
interesting was in the beginning, Bill
Yeah.
was way ahead.
Oh yeah.
And then all
I
of
think
a
he was
sudden,
at 4.
yeah, and then Guy
yeah.
caught up, and then they were neck and neck until Guy was the final winner.
Yeah.
And which surprised me. I thought Bill was going to be because he seemed to be really on top of a lot of
Yeah.
it. But
it was close.
I don't remember what was the question that stumped him. Do you remember?
I don't. It was a year.
Was it a year thing?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Maybe. I don't
was a lot of fun. I will try next year to maybe. I mean, I don't feel that I should have to dumb down our 4x4 guys, but maybe. And one of your Comanche guys was one of the head off guys.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan.
Yep.
He was one of the
In the
guys that
car
got 7
trivia one,
points in the car, which, I mean, he's a 4x4 guy, and he shows up and he got the car
Yeah.
trivia ones right. But it's, you just never know how the cards are going to fall with that.
McLean was either his brother or his buddy's name. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I just remember
you're
thinking John
correct.
McLean. I don't remember why I know the name, but
It's a very race car kind of, like,
yeah, I knew it was something I did.
it's
I'm bad
probably
with
something
names.
else, I don't know.
Everybody knows that.
What else would you like to see changed or do you think we should continue the Power Wheels? Do you think we should?
I think try it again. I mean, if we go 2 years with nothing, then unfortunately I have to look at it. I think it was just kind of a fluke that we didn't have anyone for it this year. Because I know Dan usually brings a couple of them out, and he brought the other Jeep and the big one.
I'm just gonna blame COVID. Like,
we can still do that.
that's my blame for
We can
everything.
still
The
do
rest
it,
of
yeah.
my life, it's just gonna be like I'm gonna blame COVID. Year
Yeah.
2050, I'm just gonna be like COVID. I don't know, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, everything else went really well, I think. I mean, we had, the snacks in the pop, drinks everybody could buy there. We had some shirts and hoodies. I don't know if we sold too many of those. But
In the end, we still made money for the museum.
Yeah.
And that was the important part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And, so as long as we are continuing to be a profitable event for the museum,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we'd rather it be like $5,000 or $50,000, but even $500 or whatever
Yeah.
we made off the event
Yeah.
is still more worth it to me.
Yeah. No, it went well. Everyone had a good time. Hopefully they'll come back next year, and it'll be even bigger. And hopefully the weather holds.
Absolutely, man. Well, with that, if you're interested in seeing some pictures from Wheels in the Woods 2021, we did tag that on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you go on and you look up Wheels in the Woods 2021,
I got to upload the awards one still. I keep forgetting to do that.
yep, you can go ahead and do that. Check them all out. Obviously, we keep talking about how this event every year is a fundraiser for the Museum of Off-Road Adventure. If you're interested in finding out more about the Museum of Off-Road Adventure, you want to go on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, mostly Facebook, but we are on all three under Museum of Off-Road Adventure. You can also join the Facebook group 4x4 Talk, which is growing every day. And John, I think you've got some other things for the people.
Yep. So we do still have our after show hooked up on Patreon. Soon it will be available with Podbean as well. So it's just access to a little extra bonus content, stuff we normally don't or forget to get into during the show. Some of it we can't because it's not really for public ears. We'll just call it. Ooh.
I stopped
Sorry.
him right in the middle of it.
All right. That doesn't
So
look too
earlier in the
bad.
episode, we were talking about the Hummer Jeep conversions. You do not remember these. These were from the
No, I don't remember those at all. That's not
90s
as bad
or-
as I was expecting.
90s,
it
early
to be.
2000s. But okay, go ahead, John.
Yeah. So, anyways, access on there as low as $2 a month. You can access any of the past content and the new stuff. There are some free episodes if you want to go and check those out as well. Keith already talked about the 4x4 Talk group on Facebook. Just type in your search bar 4x4 Talk.
I said 4x4 Museum. There's also 4x4 Talk.
You mentioned 4x4 Talk.
I said 4x4 Museum.
Well, I'm
didn't I?
talking about it anyways.
Whatever. All right, so go ahead.
4x4 Talk. A couple quick questions get you on the page. You can interact with us and some of the other listeners. Post build pictures, ask questions if you can't figure something out. Help us decide what color you want to paint your rig, all that kind of stuff.
Sounds good to me, man.
Awkward pause.
I thought you were still going. Like,
No, that was it. I know we kind of did these out of order, but it works.
All right.
So I don't think we have anything else for this one. We recapped the show, or the car show, and yeah.
Yeah, what?
I don't know.
Jesus, John.
I feel we need something else.
You're supposed to say... How many minutes are we in this thing?
35.
Whatever, it's a short episode.
We'll go with that. Thanks for listening, and have a good one, everybody.